Hello, my Sagat brothers and sisters. Welcome back. We have a cup of tea. We are going to make the ultimate Sagat tier list using everyone's lists to compile the ultimate final list that you must obey. Of course you don't. You can have your own opinions. But we'll go through my list, Zaf's list, listing. Javits made one. Sony. Who else? We'll go through Slow. He's a really top Japanese Sagat, and we'll just kind of combine everything and see what it spits out. We'll even go through maybe some other lists of the other characters like Bolt Strikes, Valmaster's Chun, and just see what they think about Sagat, and maybe get a clearer idea of where he sits in the pantheon of the greatest warriors. Not very high, I don't think, not very high. But we'll also explain what makes a bad match, and more importantly, why. Why is it a bad match? Not if. Why is it a bad match? What does Sagat struggle with, and what is he good at? I think that's a pretty good introduction. Let's rock and roll. Now, before we get started, if you some self-promotion. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you are missing out. I put loads of funny stuff on here, like what's worse than a tea bag, funny videos with edits. I do lots of kind of tips, strategy tips. I do kind of cool music videos with cool sequences I did. I actually put quite a lot on my Twitter, more than my YouTube, just because snippets are sometimes fun, so follow me there. But we're going to go through, who have we got? We've got my list, we've got Sonny's, we've got Javits, Masterino, Zaffarino, the main man. We've got Liston. Slowpoo's list is structured in a little bit of a different way, but I think there's a cultural thing probably there, where he's got lots of little different slight advantages where I prefer. Mind you, a lot of American players do that as well. I prefer the straight wins or doesn't win. I don't like the slight wins. We got Bolt Strike, we got Valmaster, who else we got? We got Chris CC. Have a look at how much of a dirtbag Luke is. So, let's jump in the game and explain a couple of things before we compile this list. Here we are in the training room with an even matchup. How do we know it's an even matchup? Well, I'll explain it to you. So, Vega has a V-skill that can beat Sagat's fireballs. But Sagat's fireballs can annoy Vega. If we record the dummy doing Vega's V-skill, muck that up slightly, and then we'll sit him in block stun, okay? So this is an example of a fair and balanced design, in my opinion. This is how I think deeply how the game should actually operate when it comes to fireball beating tools. Of course, there's always going to be very, very powerful ones, but this one here is minus 13 on block, and it really doesn't have incredible invincibility against fireballs. There's a bit of skill involved in it. It does keep Vega and Sagat honest at the mid-range, but Sagat, if he does it too close, you know, you're going to eat a DP. If he does it too far away, he's going to eat a DP. Remember, I'm blocking there. So, if Sagat's using his high shot, which has a big hurt box on it, it's going to tag him at the end. You know, so while Vega's pokes and general movement, he's quick, kind of frustrates Sagat. Equally, Sagat can frustrate Vega with his shot game. This is, I actually think this is kind of a classic match where both characters have just enough elements that all the Vega players probably say Sagat beats Vega, and all the Sagat players probably say Vega beats Sagat. That's when you know you have an even match. So if you're not good with Sagat, if you're not really high level and you struggle with the Vega match, then your neutral is not good enough, and that is what every single matchup in the game comes down to with Sagat. If you are not good enough in the middle of the screen and control and anti-air, and spacing, you're simply not good enough with the character, and you're not good enough to rate matches. Now that doesn't mean you can't rate matches, but you have to take into consideration your skill level. Now let's look at what Bolt Strike had for Vega. We're not going to go through every character like this. This was just an example to start us off. Now if you guys hear little coughs, people screaming, children running around, that's because I am daddy daycare today. I have all 3 of my children. Who says that men cannot multitask? That's the boy just screaming at Fortnite right now. Bolt Strike has Sagat. Where is he? He has Sagat as even, straight in the middle. I have Sagat. I have Vega as even on my chat. Sonny has he has Vega slightly hard work, but like I've said before, that's neutral skill there. Sonny's probably playing Bolt Strike because I'm pretty sure they're from the same. They're both from the UK. And that is going to be heavily influence his decision on Vega. But if Sonny leveled up his neutral game, I'm sure Bolt Strike would agree that that's an even match. Who else we got? 5-5 from Javits. We have Zaf. Where's Vega? Yeah, makes you, yeah. So Zaf has Vega as even. Liston has slight advantage for Vega. Again, I think that anything that's a slight disadvantage or advantage, I'm repeating myself a lot here, but it's going to come down to your skill in the neutral level. Slopu has advantage Sagat here, so there's a little bit of a, some players think it's Vega's advantage and other players thinking it's Sagat advantage. I think that's a classic telltale sign of a dead heat match. Slopu will be playing some very, very strong Vegas, so for him to come to that decision means that Vega is not likely going to be a bad match for Sagat. Who have we got here? Oh, we're back to Bolt Strike. So we're going to plunk Vega in even. Again, we're not going to go through every character like this. We'll skip a few, but here is a classic example of an even matchup. Where's our tier list maker? We have... So I've done the king at the top. Straight counter is going to be just really hard. You're basically pushing shit uphill with the matches in the red. Disadvantage is going to be you're going to have to play out of your skin to beat one of these characters. Weak in hang is going to be down to how skillful your neutral is. And you can call it 5-5, but there is no dead heats. No one is going to be at the equal skill, and no character is technically going to be cancel the other one out. It's all down to that very, very skillful knowledge, all the things that make a good fighting game player. And then we've got in control. You can still lose an in control match easily by losing control, funnily enough. So we're going to pop Vega in there. Let's move on to a disadvantaged match. Mrs. Rose. I think Rose is a good example of how a bad match should be designed. We'll get to a bad match that has been designed poorly later. But Rose is a fun bad match, in my opinion. I don't know what the other Sagats think. Rose has lots of little things that counter Sagat, but nothing that's overwhelming. You know, she, if we put the recorder on, you know, she has the slide that goes under fireballs, can be whiff punished, mildly annoying. She has quite big buttons to challenge Sagat at the mid-range. Her air fireball, anyone with a trajectory changing move that stops Sagat's A-game being they jump, you uppercut, is going to be annoying for Sagat. Your mental stack is concentrating on 2 things. The way you beat that, by the way, is to jump over the fireball and punish her as she lands. Not always doable if she throws that one, but is if she does this one or this one. What else have we got? Rose's EX Fireball, man, she was lucky. I remember Sanford at the start of the game saying he wished he had Sagat's EX Fireball that blew the opponent full screen. Well, Rose has that. If we put the meter settings on, I think I must have been doing something with the and do the recording. Oh, it's so good, so good. So that means if we throw a single fireball and she throws a double, we are back into this really tough zone where she's got all these gimmicks with the cards. She's got the orbs. The orb blows up, stops you from walking forward. It's a little assault course. It's a mini assault course, and this is something that people don't think about when you are when you're playing Sagat. You see, lots of characters in the game have a V skill that will help them out in a match or will help them out in scenarios, but both of Sagat's V skills only help him out as a character. They don't counter another character. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a big design flaw in he's not been designed well for this game. For one, both of his, on a character that requires time is the most important thing for Sagat. You must make use of the time. He requires a charge V skill, unlike a character like Guile, who can just sonic boom 2 buttons. Big difference. But what that should have done, even if the charge up, it should have done maybe a double fireball all the time with the cost of no meter. And then we can save the meter, blow through fireballs. It's a knock-on effect with a V skill like that. A V skill that helps you with certain matches. Now, a V skill like that might not be useful against maybe some characters, you know, like Falk, where you're not going to get many clashes or things like that. But that is a big design flaw in Sagat, and why he's not a good character, despite everyone thinking he's actually really quite good, is his V skill, and even to an even bigger extent, his I just taunted his triggers. They only improve Sagat. They don't counter other things. And you're saying, you can blow through fireballs, but this is a slow move. You can't do that really on reaction. There's a bit of guessing involved there. He's got an armor move, you know. It's just he's a really badly designed character. And what makes this a bad match, of course, is that Sagat has no variance in his attack or his he is controlling. He is incredible in here. Incredible. One of the best characters in that neutral position. But if he can't fight there and he's getting thrown back, he has no way in. He has no way in. This move should have been like the Street Fighter 4 version. It went really fast. This needed to be super fast, much faster than that. That's slow. And when it hit, it needed to be plus, and that means we can get in and we can get back. We can attack. Our attack is bad, but at least we have something to get there. And when you're trying to get through an assault course with a shot, the worst move in the game, and an uppercut that can beat me by an air fireball, ladies and gentlemen, you have yourself a bad match. Again, I don't think it's horrible. Looking at the this is Filipino Man's Rose matchup chart. He has Sagat as a clear favourite of Rose, and I think you will find that this is my one, and I think Rose knocks you out of the tourney. Of that line, though, I think she is not as difficult as Balrog. I don't think, you know. I wouldn't be super scared if I got a Rose. I'd be in trouble, but Sony's got slight advantage Rose, which is fair enough. Javits has got Rose winning, and he plays quite a lot of Roses, I think. Interestingly, Zaf has Rose as really bad. I think that's actually one above kind of bad match, or is that just bad match? I'm not sure on his one. Liston, he likes fighting Rose. Everyone's got that special matchup. We were just talking about that this morning, me and Liston actually, and I think Zaf was in the convo because Zaf thinks, as we'll get to later, Zaf thinks Bison's even. But everyone's got that special match where there's something about it. Everyone thinks it's bad, but you've just got this, whether it's through your reactions, a visual thing, or just your spacing in that match is just optimal or something. Everyone's got that one match where they're like, this is okay, I'm confident here. So Liston's obviously confident in the Rose match. Slow poo, hang on, Bubba. he has, that was just my daughter, she just made a birthday card for her mother-in-law. Slopu has Rose, yeah, natural disadvantage. What I just explained, it's natural that Rose beats Sagat with all those tools. There's just too many. Mental stack through the roof. And that is Rose. We will stick Rose into the disadvantaged side. So next we're going to look at the matches that are sticky. The matches that people think Sagat wins and doesn't, and the matches that people think Sagat loses and doesn't. And we're going to explain why those things are. We are going to look at Luke, no pun intended. Luke must apologise to Mr. Big Bird when the game came out. I indeed thought that Sagat beat Luke, and that was even more powerful. Luke, I think that was back when he was even scarier. Scary to think about how good release Luke was, considering how good he still is. I thought Sagat beat Luke. He didn't. He gave me some reasons, which I kind of dismissed at the start. You know, he said the trigger was one of the main things, and it has come to fruition that I think that Luke does indeed beat Sagat. So I'll give you that one, Mr. Big Bird. Looking at everyone else's charts, we'll go through why Luke slightly beats Sagat. I have Luke as knocks you off the tourney line, which is advantage Luke. Sonny has Luke as even. He's still on the going to get flames for this. I won't give you flames, my man. I won't give you flames. I might uppercut you though. Javits has Luke as advantage Luke. Zath advantage Luke, grinding teeth to win. So he thinks Luke slightly wins. I think that's realistically probably the place where he would sit, but again, I don't like the halfies. I don't like them. Liston, straight Luke win. Slow Poo, my man, was one of the really first earliest lists to come out with the newish version, and he has Luke as a natural disadvantage, and he plays Takedo, my friends. I think this man would know a couple of things about Sagat, just a couple. And we've got Chris CCH, who makes, if you want to have a look at the most disgusting matchup chart you've ever seen, have a look at this one. He only loses to 2 characters, and I think Urian's really dodgy there. Don't know what that's about. Oh yeah, he's got. I am preemptively muting all Urian players. Yeah, you should. Urian isn't very good, but he has Sagat as a slight win for Luke. So why is all of this? So we have a Mr. Luke. I played Luke for a while. He is powerful. He was fun, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not playing the game for that. I'm playing. I'm not picking low tier because it's difficult. It's hard to explain actually. I like the chess of Street Fighter. I like the interaction of tools. About what I was saying about Rose and Sagat. I feel like when you've got 6 queens, you ain't really playing a game, you know. Yeah. But if you were a pro, no brainer. If you're a pro player, pick Luke. Just pick him. But why is Luke better than Sagat in the matchup? Well, it's very simple. They neutralize each other for the most part, which is why people think that this match is okay for Sagat. Luke has one of the, he has a very strong fireball. You can't really react to that. You can't react to that. One of the main ones, and this is the weakness of Sagat, and hopefully not a lot of people who don't play Sagat are listening here, but if you have a life lead on Sagat can't win. A sizable, I'm talking about, maybe 400-500, maybe 300-400 even. If you have a sizable lead on Sagat, and you have a trigger that you like that does not run down, there's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do. Sagat's jump is bad. His dash is bad. We already explained he has no way of traversing the screen from one side of the other. His V skill doesn't do anything in any matchups but power himself up. Here, you cannot. Once you meet a player, and Shen Kan does this to me, he's one of the top, if not the toppy of top end players down here. When me and Shen play, the game is a stalemate. Except that Luke has lots and lots of ways of breaking the stalemate, and I do not have many ways of breaking the stalemate. He's not going to jump on me and give me free anti-airs, and even if he does, I'm only getting 160 if I've even stocked the V skill, you know. He's going to get that back if I try and jump his fireballs, but I'm not going to try and jump his fireballs. In fact, sometimes you have to the match will get to a point where you have to take a big risk, lose more damage, and you're done. So if spoiler alert, if you're trying to beat Sagat out there, get a half bar life lead, defend, you've won. You've won. You have to really muck up against Sagat. His neutral is good, but who says you've got to play neutral? Just defend. EX Fireball, better than Sagat's. Of course it is. Why? We couldn't have anything that was the best thing, right? We couldn't have anything. And can be cancelled anywhere on the screen into trigger. No other character can do that, by the way. He's the only character that can do that. Of course he is. Amongst the big damage he has, pretty decent life for the tools that he has. Those are the main ones: the EX Fireball, the trigger, the general mobility. I mean, if you're trading in there, trade, he's got a 2-bar trigger. It's a difficult match. One of the big ones, which you probably you either don't know or you know, Luke can do this to Sagat, but Sagat can't do this to Luke. Ridiculous. That's the low shot, by the way. You're gonna have to be good with it. If you got the EX, you know, you can probably blow through a really late reaction. But wowee. So there's an example of a match where on the surface it looks like we should be able to hang, but we have a knife, Luke has a samurai sword. We have a pistol, Luke has a machine gun. You know, we have the same tools, but he got the good versions. So that is an example of a match where people probably think it's quite evenish. But if these two people are robots, if these is AI, Google Luke and Google Sagat are fighting, I don't think Sagat can win at all. So we put Luke into the disadvantaged. We only got 2 more characters to go through before we compile the final list. I was just wanting to go through all the different types of matches. So next up we're gonna go for a match that people think is bad but isn't really bad. Who will we pick? Mr. Birdie. I know Javits hates Birdie, hates him. And I can understand. I can understand why people wouldn't like this character. He's very Street Fighter 5-ish, isn't he? He's very throw stuff out. Gotta be quick with the reactions. He's got some gimmicks. He's got a really powerful damaging command grab. But this move, Sagat is one of the very few characters that can punish with an EXDP. So he can't just be doing that for free against Sagat. You can EXDP that on block. What's the chains are all punishable with Kara DP if he does them too close. If you block a chain from the mid range, you can Kara DP the chain. The which one is the slide? This one. Punish on block and easy whiff punish. I feel like Birdie is the example of a character that on first glance appears like he should counter Sagat, like Rose, but all of his options are a little bit risky, unlike Rose. So the only one that he has is the EX Bullhorn, which goes through the fireballs. What is the Dolphin Dive? Yeah, I can actually react to the Dolphin Dive. I'm not sure why. I've just got... I think I learned from the start of the game to deal with that move immediately. When Street Fighter 6 comes out, here's a tip. Identify all the gimmicks really quickly, because that's all anyone will use. People are very good at finding easy ways to win. Very good. They will gravitate to the easy stuff. And if you can counter the easy stuff in the start, you'll be ahead of the game. Let me just figure out what the motion is for the bloody bullhorn. I forgot. It's a hold release. It's a hold and release. So you hold the punches down, the 2 punches. You let it go. That blasts through a fireball. Pretty good damage too. That is the move I think that people get annoyed with in the birdie match. If you block that move, that is a full punish on block also. So it's risky. The thing is, I don't think birdie gets any pressure after hitting that move. And we can't say that that move defines the matchup. Otherwise, we're saying that birdie pretty much beats anyone that throws plasma. The matchup can't be defined by just the one move. You have to have a rough time of it at some point, right? This is the thing with matchups. If something is difficult within a matchup, you just need to deal with it. It doesn't mean the matchup is bad. It means you need to find a way of solving that problem. Or, quite simply, it's just part of the natural flow of the match. It's going to happen at one point. But that doesn't, I don't think a move like that defines the entire matchup. And so while birdie has lots of little things that he can do that annoy Sagat, I mean, his jump is really slow. I find birdie one of the easiest characters to Kara uppercut. His buttons are okay. His dash you can stop with a jab if he tries any dash up command grab shenanigans. If you get cornered by birdie, well, it is difficult. There is no doubt about it. But with the likes of V reversal, V shift, we have a DP. That situation is not specific to Sagat, and that's what you're looking for when you're trying to decide, is this bad for me? And that is the major question you should ask yourself is it bad or is it bad for me? I think this situation with birdie in the corner is bad for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're Luke or Dalsim in there. That is a bad situation to be in, but it is not specific to Sagat. And that's what you're asking yourself when you're judging a match where you think, oh, I think I probably lose this match. I think I probably win this match. Are the tools really affecting the whole flow of the match? I don't think so. I think we got enough firepower coming back the other way to deal with the firepower coming this way. I think that is an example of a match that people probably struggle with, but realistically, it's probably an even match. Looking at the I have birdie down as even. We can make top 8. Sonny has birdie as he thinks it's slightly hard. Javits, I know, hates birdie. He has it on the 6-4 side. Masterina Zaffarino has he has it as an even match. Liston, I think he loves the birdie match. He's the birdie destroyer. He thinks Sagat beats birdie. Slowpoo has it as an even match. So I think overall, from what I've described and from what the matchup charts are showing, I think we are going to plunk birdie into the even match, and that will be our example of a match that feels difficult but actually isn't. Now we have one more type of match to describe, then we'll finish the chat. The final one is obviously the straight counter, the really, really badly designed character. You thought I was going to pick Dalsim, didn't you? Everyone, we all know Dalsim's bad. I feel like Dalsim's bad for a lot of characters, for a lot of different reasons. I've already explained that Sagat can't get in. He doesn't have a good attack. Not only that, his tools are completely nullified against a character like Dalsim, where Dalsim doesn't have to play neutral. So our strongest zone in the match doesn't even get played in. And now that's really the case with Falk. Except I feel Falk is really, really, when I said badly designed, I don't mean that to Falk players. I think she's a cool character and things, but I think the way these two designs mesh, she takes away our whole game. We can't anti-air her because she has, our DP will not go through that fireball, and we cannot shot game her because her shots go under our shots. So our only two tools are completely taken away. Not only that, is she has a bigger button than us that crush counters. So Falk is an example of a character as well that she's a zoner, but she can play Street Fighter 5. She is enough kind of gimmicky things Our anti-air's quite good. Our V-trigger, although it's not spectacular, it's not bad. I feel like there's an EX fireball that she has. Oh, it's this 100. I mean, that's disgusting. That is disgusting. Are you going to anti? And now we can't anti-air, so she's getting free jump-ins. Against a character that can shut the spaces down, well, Falk probably does get destroyed. But against a character like Sagat, our whole game is stripped, completely stripped. If you can beat a high-level Falk player, I happen to play a high-level Falk player. His name is La Luna C. I think he's a Singaporean top. I think he's a warlord Falk. I think I maybe beat him a handful of times. Maybe. Falk doesn't need to use any meter. She's always sitting on critical art. Her base game is good enough to destroy Sagat, and now you got to deal with one hit into death. Very difficult. He gives me real bother. I've tried everything. I've tried everything against that air fireball, but the only solution is to actually meet it in the air, which is minimal damage. Yeah, you can't do that every time, can you? So yeah, Falk and Dalsim, they take away Sagat's neutral strength and replace his long-ranged ability and just completely destroy it. He is outgunned at nearly every range. Of course, in Street Fighter V, if you can get any of these characters, the only way to beat either Dalsim or Falk is to corner them and hope that you get the 2 or 3 combo shimmy sequence. I mean, but first off, you got to get them in the corner when you don't have any neutral game. And then second, they've put so many defensive things in the game now, which I said was a bad idea, but no one listened. Why would they listen to me anyway? But you've got V-shift, you've got V-reversal, she has a DP, you've got jump out, she has an air fireball. Very, very difficult. I think everyone would have put her right at the top. I put her at the top, Sonny's got her in the second from top, Javits has got her second from top, 7-3. He thinks Dalsim's pretty much unwinnable. Don't blame him. Zaf has her at the top with Dalsim and Poison. Liston has it as a 6-4. Liston, you're killing it, mate. You are killing it. If you're 6-4 and Falk. Slowpoo has, this is terrible. He has Dalsim has just dropped the game, go for food. So yes, Falk is our. Everyone knew Dalsim was going to be up there, so I thought I'd pick someone different and describe it in a different way. Falk is a straight counter. Oh, we forgot a winnable match. Let's go for one more winnable. How the mighty have fallen, eh? One of the best characters in the game. Now, mostly due to look and some changes he received. Akuma is just a mediocre now, I think, and Sagat destroys Akuma. I'm very confident if I get matched up against an Akuma player. Why? Well, although Akuma's walk speed is good, his pokes, he's very stubby character. As soon as you meet a stubby character in Street Fighter V, good news for you. Good news for you, Sagat, because already our strong neutral is even stronger. His air fireball, we can DP through it, unlike Falk's. Completely different scenario. He bleeds a little bit, Akuma. His fireball game cannot keep up with Sagat. He can Tatsu through the fireball, but gets beat by the high shot. He's just outranged, outgunned. This is Luke versus Sagat, but now we are Luke and Akuma is Sagat. He's all of his tools are not quite as good as ours. His pokes isn't as good. His fireball's not as good. His DP's not as good. In fact, we can DP through Akuma's fireball. He has one of the worst hurt boxes on a DP. I think I've uploaded that Twitter clip a couple of times. So in a funny way, I've not thought of it until right now. Luke and Sagat mirrors Akuma and Sagat at the other end of the table. So that is our winning match. Let's complete the list. So I am going through and completing the list on the averages of everyone's position. So if we have 4 or 5 people pick that character in one position, they slot into that position. If we have people picking that character on either side of the fence, they must move up to even. Now, I think that the one that is a real point of contention, and I think this has always been the way, is Mr. Valmaster's Chun-Li. Now, I have Chun as a weak and hang. I think Sagat does okay against Chun-Li. He controls the neutral very well. I'll show you one big thing in the Chun-Li match in just 1 second. But if we're looking at the list, Sonny hates Chun, absolutely despises her. Javits doesn't like Chun-Li either. Zaf really doesn't like Chun. That's a slight win for Chun there. Liston has Chun as a slight advantage to us. Slopu, he has Chun, slight disadvantage, and Valmaster has Sagat as a slight advantage against Chun. Now he says in the comment section here, I think Gengar with the gun says, here, oh, I'm copied in on that one. What did I say to that? Did I say anything? So Valmaster says very good zone against her, but V-Shift helps her a lot. Now V-Shift does help against Sagat, but we have V-Shift too, right? So it's winnable but fine, but I didn't really fought the best Sagat in the world, so it's hard to say. That's even more worrying. If he's not fought the best Sagats in the world and he's still having trouble, then I think that means that Sagat is giving them Chun players something to think about. Sagat is very weak to V-Shift, Javits says, especially versus characters with fast walk speed. Yeah, that's a fair point, which she definitely has. I agree he can zone her well until she has V-Shift. Sagat can always punish his answer with reversal LPDP, which is nice. I would say it's even at best. He doesn't really play Street Fighter. Fire's a good paragraph, but sums it up really well. I believe the same thing. I have it as evenish on my chart. This is me. So it's probably about right. I don't think it's terrible for either character. I think that's true. She can win in the corner, but Sagat can control the neutral well. It's basically the Street Fighter formula, isn't it? If you get cornered, you're in trouble. If you control the neutral, you will win. So much to the dismay of Mr. Zaffarino, we're gonna put Chun-Li in the weak and hang section. One very important thing about Chun is, now you'll actually be fighting Chun-Li at a little bit of a longer range than is normal for Sagat. Usually Sagat, you're hanging and you're controlling, you're using the power of the king in here. But because Chun-Li has the big ass buttons, you actually got to play a little bit further away. But once you start playing further away, Chun-Li will use this and follow it in. And this is when your wall will be broken. You must nullify that fireball with your own EX. Not like that, obviously, but once she throws that, once you see that, get rid of that fireball. This is where you gotta be, this is about smart meter management and meter use. It is better to burn the bar and not break the wall than block that and let her come in. Because once she is in, it does get difficult for Sagat. Now she's fast, she's shimmying in there, she's got EX legs, for, you know, it can be difficult. And once if you've been hit by that and or you're backing away too much, once you're in the corner, it's difficult against Chun-Li. Obviously, the other big one is the slide into trigger. One of the worst things about the game for me, probably my least favorite thing about the game, maybe ever, is the free trigger activation. I hate that the game, it gets diluted down to the same point in every round. You know, Karen throwing out 10 sweeps till she hits trigger, Chun-Li throwing out 18 slides till she hits trigger. Now we can punish the slide with the stand like kit DP, but at some point you're just going to have to take the medicine. I dislike that part of the game. That I just have to accept the inevitable there. I'd like more counters. I think the hurt box on the slide and the hitbox is really deceiving. It looks like you're not going to get hit and you get hit, you know. If you stand up, you've obviously got a better chance because your hurt box is smaller, but then you're at the mercy of actually getting hit when you didn't think you were going to get hit. But yes, Chun-Li, we're going to stick her in the even one. The final reveal. You ready? That's it. We've got a strange amount of good matches. We beat 19 characters according to the the lists, but we lose to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. About 15 characters, give or take. So I guess that sums up Sagat. Maybe that he's very volatile. You're either going to be up against it or in control. There was a few difficult ones. Like I know I went through the Chun-Li being even, but if both Slow Poo and Zaffarino were putting Chun as a disadvantage, and Javits and Sony, I think Sony put him up. Yeah, she's in the 7-3. I have to go with the guys there, even though Valmaster said slight Sagat maybe even, and I said even. There's just too much data there from good players to say that Chun-Li beats Sagat. Maybe that can be a comment section. Well, what do you think about that one? Another interesting one was Karine. I had to push her up from weak and hang. I think Karine is fine personally, but Sony had her up into the slightly difficult. Javits has got Karine winning. Zaf's got her even. Liston's got her slight disadvantage, and Slowpoo has a slight disadvantage. So I think that pushes her up a level. If there's enough kind of data there saying this is a bit sticky. Any interesting ones down the bottom? This is the easiest line to pick. In fact, there's nothing that controversial there. Maybe Nash could go up. I don't think it's as bad as Dalsum. Like, no way. Zaf was the only one that had Bison and even. Sorry, Zaf, you're crazy good in that match or something. That's your special time match. Down the bottom, Seth, bit of point of contention with Seth with Sony. He must be playing some guns over there. It's a really difficult match, whereas Slowpoo and Zaf both have us beating Seth. I've played against Zion Seth, and I did okay. I've beat him a few times into the online. Doesn't mean anything, but just the general feel of the match didn't feel particularly difficult for Sagat. Seth has that really incredible V trigger that just destroys you. But I think this again, it's not specific to Sagat. I'm unsure about Fang. I that's the one that sticks out for me. If I was to look at this list and be like, someone made it. I mean, we all made it, but I think Fang gives Sagat enough problems that I don't think it's easy for us, man. I think once Fang is on you, it's really difficult to get him off. All your V reversals don't really work against those attacks. So yeah, I had to put him in there though, because I think both Slowpoo, Fang, Advantage, Us and Zaf have him in there, and they're the top dogs. I put a bit more weight into Zaf and Slowpoo's against me, Liston, Javits and Sony. We were they were the initial what did they think, and then I used ours to base that off of. Obviously, I think because Zaf and Slowpoo, I don't think anyone would disagree, are the best two Sagats of the lists. We can't use the main man Bonchan, obviously. Sorry, absolute madhouse. Just kids running around everywhere. Yeah, Bonchan, if you're out there, Mr. Bonchan, give us your thoughts, mate. Give us your thoughts. We would like to hear from you. He's never really in much of the conversations about Sagat. Bonchan, he was at the start of the game, but he's doing his own thing, and he's maining Luke now. But I'd be interested to see what he thinks. I wonder if it would be similar to Slowpoo's list. Very strong players over there. But yeah, I hope you liked it, guys. What do you think? You think that's a good? It's a decent character. It's a solid character, but not tourney ready. I don't think you're going to run into too many bad matches. And 3 characters, let's face it, 2 of them are very, very popular, Poison and Dasim, that will completely delete you from the tournament. If it didn't have that red line, if they weren't so bad, I mean, you could probably rock Sagat solo, maybe, but there's a lot of bad in there. And look at the disadvantage lines. You've got Luke Everyone's playing Luke. Balrog will always be popular. M. Bison will always be popular. Chun's a popular character. Karine at the height of the game was popular. I feel like a lot of the characters that Sagat beats down there, kind of irrelevant characters, so there's a bit of weight to be done there. Not Kami. Good. Akuma's irrelevant now. Kami is, you'll still run into a Kami. Colleen, very good. To have a good match against her. Obviously, Quano, I think is it Quano that won Evo? But looking at the rest of them, Laura, well, it's only really the big man there that's rocking Laura over in America. Ziku, kind of a tournament character. But yeah, I think a lot of them are really irrelevant characters. Even the Wake and Hang range, who have you got in there? You got Guile and Ken, but you know, you Blanca, Vega, Abigail, Ibuki, Nikali. None of them are. You're never gonna get them in a tourney, are you? Not a big tourney. You get Ed. But yeah, I'll stop rambling and we can discuss it in the comments section. I hope you like that, my Sagatos. Catch you next time.